Hi there Titans, and welcome back to another Titan Academy video. Today we'll be talking about basic input fields in Titan Web. First, we'll talk about a general overview of the input fields and the differences between them. Next, we'll talk about some built-in or native validations that some of these fields have. We'll talk about formatting of our fields and certain formats that come built into the field. And finally, we'll discuss certain field limits that help guide your end user and make sure that they're entering data the way that you want them to enter data. Let's get started. So the first thing that of course you want to do is head over to the pink plus and input and grab your fields. Now I've selected the fields that we see in front of us, and the main difference between these fields are A, validations, B, certain formats these fields have, and C, certain limitations that these fields give to our end users. And for example, I might select a text field if I want just one single line of text, but if I want several lines of text, then I would want to use a text area field where that would be supported. I might want some built-in validations, such as the email field has. And I might want certain formatting for my field, such as currency or number fields have. So depending on how I want things to look and feel for my end user, I would select different field types. Now, the first thing I want to look at are some of the validations that are built into some of these fields. If I take a look at my email field and I try to enter a value that's not an email, I will automatically get an invalid value. I have not set up this rule. This is a rule that is built into the field. So if I format this like an email, it'll accept my value. Same goes for the URL field, where if I enter something here that's not a valid URL, it will tell me it's invalid. Once it's formatted, it doesn't actually have to be a real URL, but once it's formatted as a URL, now my field will be accepted on validation here. The other thing that I wanted to talk about here is the formatting of our fields. So some of these fields have certain built-in formats, and we can even change these formats. So for example, my number field, if this is a decimal type number field, so then I can determine what the decimal looks like and what my thousandth place looks like. And I can also change this to an integer, and then I would only be able to format for my thousandth symbol. Same thing goes with my currency field. I have certain built-in formatting that we can see here that I can apply to my field. Now the final thing I want to focus on here is the limitations that are built into some of these fields on purpose. So we discussed one, which is, for example, text field. I can enter in a single line, but text area, I have several lines that I can enter. I also have certain limitations for example, number and currency field. If I preview this and I try to type in regular text, nothing will actually come up. So I'm trying to write letters or special characters, nothing will come up until I write numbers, and then automatically, as you can see, it will, first of all, force a certain format, and second of all, allow me to actually enter a value as long as it's a numeric value here. Now I can also force that using a mask. So for example, on this field, I've already put a mask on. So I'm only allowing numbers, and I'm only allowing numbers in this particular format. So if I were to type in letters in my text field, nothing's going to come up. But automatically, all I'm typing now is 5, but automatically this is applying a mask and a format to my field and is only allowing numeric values here. The final field I want to talk about is this phone number field, which has certain formats and limitations built into the field, and you can also set these up. So for example, you might notice here that we have the option to set the default country. What happens with the phone field is that if I set a country such as United States, automatically it will provide me with a certain formatting for my number field, for my phone number field, and it will also add this +1 country code right over here for the country that I've selected. If I change my country here, notice it dropped the formatting, and I have a completely different country code here now. And so you can actually force this to be a default country, and you can also disable country change so they can't change it, or you can allow your end user to change it. You can also do auto country based on the browser. And so you have a lot of options here with the fields that you can choose. In future videos, we'll go over more field types, but here you can already see that you have particular fields that fit different user experiences, and that's how it's done.